Good afternoon, welcome back to your tech news in 6 minutes or less. Making headlines this week, Intel's K-series chips look ready for launch. The Z490 boards and features show up to the party. Non-K Intel variants could see some overclocking. AMD's third generation gets into an elevator punch-up with the Intel 10th gens. And Zen 3 and RDNA 2 architecture is confirmed for launch in 2020. Starting off with a lot of good news from Intel's side of life. The 10900K has beaten the 9900K in early single core benchmarks, which is really good news because you should see a generational improvement, and the 10900K has 2 extra cores and 4 extra threads, so on multitasking it's quite far ahead. And this is really good news for Intel because their chips had the single core performance tick box checked most of the time. Almost every single generation they've been improving there, but never on the multi-core. The multi-core had still been lagging behind AMD, where value at least was, where if you were just looking at value and overall performance across multiple cores, AMD was killing them in that area. So this is a lot better. Unfortunately though, something I don't like about Intel is you're going to have to upgrade your motherboard once again. The die size has actually changed this time, so at least we won't see some mad lad on a Nantec sporting an 8700K on a Z170. After this, there has been an absolute explosion of motherboards from every corner of the industry. More than 50 have already been announced for the Z490 platform, which is absolutely staggering. So you literally are going to be able to get it in any flavor that you want. And speaking of motherboards and some cool stuff actually and tech around that, ASRock surprisingly has created a technology that lets you increase the chip's TDP, the wattage that's actually being delivered to the chip, and that is going to basically give you overclocking on a non-K series chip. So the 10300 or 10100 chip will probably be overclockable on like an H series or a B series motherboard, which is absolutely fantastic. In AMD news, the 3300X and 3100 have started to get into the Intel 10th gen punch-up, and in dominant fashion by the looks of things, especially on the single core, and Firestrike being a reference point that I personally put a lot of faith in. It's showing quite a lot of difference on the physics test, which is a first really. I'd love to see graphics and combined scores on Firestrike because that gives a more complete picture, especially the combined, because it's putting maximum load on the CPU and GPU simultaneously. So we'll see if the CPU can still deliver good graphics performance while creating a better physics environment. I think we need to see a complete test, but based off of these initial scores, it looks very promising, and the 3100 is overclockable. It's been spotted at 4.5 gigahertz all core. Of course, we don't know what cooling. It could be literally under liquid nitrogen or something to that effect, so we'll have to wait and see. But initial things are looking very promising. And in other good news around that, the samples have landed at Uncle Evetech, and I'm going to be picking them up this Friday and putting together a budget gaming PC, which I will spec and review and should be available for your purchase in the defined spec on the store later in the week. In other AMD news, they've confirmed that their Zen 3 chips will be coming out within the year, and I think that that's already a bit of a dead heat with Intel, so those should just once again take the desktop value segment by storm. We're going to see this stuff happening on notebook as well, but the one that I'm actually really hoping goes well is the RDNA 2 architecture, because of the NVIDIA Ampere goodness that we saw in last week's episode, where you're looking at 30% performance gains generation on generation. That's really good, and I know it's going to be good because Team Green's polish is almost second to none. But I'm hoping that AMD creates a real competitor to give us some pricing stability in the market and hopefully get us some free performance, man. That's what we're all about here. Good market competition that allows us to effectively get performance for free. Now, if only AMD could write a good GPU driver. In some interesting pre-build pop-ups, we see some HP Omen goodness coming our ways with Ryzen's and Intel 10th gens and 2080 Ti's and RX 5700 XTs, but that's not what caught my eye. What caught my eye, honestly, was how clean these builds look and the fact that their water cooling is going to be provided by none other than Cooler Master, which in this channel's experience, if we've learned anything of the brand, is they're more than back. Their value is very good and their quality to boot. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing complete finished products because, I mean, just look at it. It's super clean. I really do like the look of that. Lastly, in some gaming news, we do see some hype around the new Assassin's Creed Vikings edition. It looks more like a traditional hack and slash than a super sneaky stealthy game, which does suit the Viking moniker down to a T. Honestly, though, I would love to see a Black Flag 2, but we sit and hope and dream of more Caribbean piracy. Cue the Jack Sparrow theme.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Unfortunately though, that is all we have time for today. So keep your lives ticking and your games working. We'll see you next time.